Hi, I'd like to share a technique that you can use on your journey to eliminating conflict from your marriage or your committed relationship. So you can only have conflict with an opponent, right? And the way we're wired, it's impossible to feel emotionally safe with an opponent. So if we don't feel safe, then what happens is we get triggered automatically into our sympathetic nervous system circuitry, which most people are more familiar with as their fight or flight circuitry. And you might not be used to thinking of these situations like that, but if you think about it, if you're angry, then you're fighting. If you're angry because you're afraid of a threat, then you're fighting. Or if you're running away, you're shutting down, you're fleeing because of a threat, because you don't feel safe, then you're fighting. So as you are aware, this creates incredible disturbance and agitation in your body. Your belly, your solar plexus, your heart, they get really tight, your insides get tight, or your fists clench, your jaw clenches, your face gets red, your throat constricts, your heart starts beating fast, your breath gets shallow, even your thoughts become distorted, your prefrontal cortex goes offline, and the threat assessment axis within your brain becomes kind of inflamed, your amygdala, your hippocampus. And so as a being, you become an organism that is scanning the environment for threat. And therefore, everything you perceive becomes a threat. And once one of you gets triggered into fight or flight, the other one automatically gets triggered into fight or flight. And then you both get stuck in this spiral of doing that same painful, stupid dance, which eventually becomes all you ever do and all you even expect from each other. So the way that you eliminate conflict from your marriage is by training your entire being, your mind, your body, your psyche, into not experiencing your partner as a threat. And that means that you have to discern the difference experientially between physical discomfort and actual threat. It's analogous to opening the fire exit door and the alarm goes off and it sounds really bad, but there's no actual threat. You just have to shut the door. Actually, we've all had the experience of being in a building when the fire alarm goes off and it's so obnoxious. You know, it's going, and it's, but nobody's jumping up frantically looking for the exits. Everybody's just kind of looking at each other going, oh man, that's so annoying. I hope God, it's the second time it went off this month. I hope they stop that, right? You have to create the same relationship with your emotional agitation, with all the personal distress that you feel, that you have with that false fire alarm. Your body and your circuitry is telling you something's wrong, but you know that there's nothing wrong. And the way you do this is so simple. This is a technique I've learned and experienced in many different personal development groups and spiritual groups. Through the decades, I've participated in so many of these groups of such varying approaches and philosophies and intentions. Every single one of these groups had a component where at some point you pair off with another person and you stand facing them eye to eye. You know, you're a few feet from them, or your faces are pretty close, and you just witness whatever comes up for both of you. What's happening? You know, I'm afraid of you. This feels weird. I hate you. I love you. I mean, it could be anything. It can be all kinds of things that come up. And you do this with various people in the group until you experience firsthand that these reactions are very automatic, that they have nothing to do with the person. They are triggered from our own inner issues, really. And you also learn how to not be threatened by these subjective experiences, but rather to kind of witness them and release them. Maybe some of you watching this video know Bessel van der Kolk. He's world famous. He's a trauma expert, and he's a impressive professional man, carries himself in this very kind, authoritative, trust-inspiring way. And he shared with us that sometimes he will walk into the room to an awaiting client, and he'll know that it's going to be very hard for him to help that person because they are already triggered just by his appearance or his unique energy. There's something about him that reminds them of a trauma they once suffered, or that they have somehow developed in such a way that his particular energy, without even knowing him, makes them uncomfortable, which on a nervous system level translates into a threat. So the reason I'm sharing this is to emphasize that we don't need to let these powerful responses that are triggered within us impulsively compel us into doing and saying things that sabotage our ability to connect with those in our life we most need to connect with, that destroy that connection. Now, the reason these emotions within us are so powerful is because the sympathetic nervous system is a biological survival imperative designed to protect us from physical danger. I have to fight you so you don't kill me, or I'm going to flee from you so you don't catch me and hurt me. Now, obviously, there's no physical threat in these interpersonal circumstances. So why is it triggering this kind of a protective mechanism? It's because as humans, our emotional life is essential to our survival. And in a marriage, the reason we get triggered into fight or flight is because perhaps we feel rejected. That's a primal fear of any relationship. Or we might feel emotionally abandoned. Or we might feel misunderstood, which is incredibly isolating and frustrating. We might feel mistreated by our partner, and we experience these as profound wounds. So this is where the technique that I'm going to share with you comes in, and it's so simple. All you have to do is, with your awareness, go into your body, notice every cell of your body, notice your breathing, and without fighting it, without suppressing it, just put your attention, just notice everything that you're feeling. If you're feeling upset in your belly, then notice it. If your heart is beating fast, notice it. If your jaw is clenching or your fists are clenching, notice it. Notice every cell of your body, your feet, your pelvis area, the parts of yourself you're not used to being aware of, the back of your head, your shoulders, your whole base area, literally every cell of your body. And also notice your breath, because when we get triggered, we tend to breathe shallowly, and that stimulates a sort of a closed circuit response where we become escalated based on all these different physical cues that the operating intelligence of our being uses to assess threat. And when you simply put your attention on your presence, every cell in your body, your physical presence, and your breath, then it demonstrates to this operating intelligence of your being, what some people call the observer, the witnesser, our core consciousness of awareness. It demonstrates to that, I'll call it an entity, if you will, that there is no threat. There is no physical threat. There is no physical threat to the safety, and therefore it does not have to go into fight or flight. And the way we are designed is that if you just put your attention on the sensations in your body, it dissipates, it breaks up, it goes away. You can actually learn how to release it. You learn how to sink into a deep space within yourself, beneath the movement of your mind and emotions, a space of deep safety, where you can finally heal all those wounds and release the false identity of the victim that you internalized the first time somebody that you needed to be emotionally safe with rejected you or abandoned you or somehow made you feel bad and taught you the false lesson that you couldn't be vulnerable with those you most need to trust. You need to protect yourself. And this is one of the most beautiful things about a marriage, is that it gives us a safe space to learn how to feel safe within ourselves and with each other, and to finally be free. And then, of course, you need to learn what to say to turn these differences into opportunities to actually deepen the connection with each other, deepen the love, to bond and collaborate and understand each other more deeply than ever before. At Relationship Remedy, we cover all of that in our programs. What to do step by step, what to say to release toxic energy and heal with love. The world is not a safe place, but our marriage is actually the one place that we have the power to create peace on earth, peace in our lives, peace in our hearts, to heal each other with love. And if everyone in the world used their marriage to heal each other with love, then they wouldn't go out into the world and project their anger and their frustration onto everything and everybody and into their professional lives and their social lives, which creates such a ripple effect of unhappiness and conflict. Whereas if you do create this at home, then it becomes like a light that you carry in your heart that creates a permanent state of wholeness. And you are shining your light as you were meant to, as an individual and as a couple. That's why we're here, to love, to create, and to shine our light.